So let's talk about another guy who I would think is supposed to be a leader on this team. Because we often talk about homegrown players, they get the club. Your fellow Mancunian, Marcus Rashford. Now, he didn't start. He came on. I don't think he did much at all when he came on. I'm just wondering to myself, right? Marcus Rashford, we can say he's a forward, right? And he's played center forward, and he scored a lot of goals at center forward, or when he came in with Van Gaal.
Yeah.
What does it say when 3 other center forwards are out, and he's not regarded as a serious option to start the game by Ralf Rangnick?
Is it because Rangnick wanted something different to counter Pep? Hence the 2 false nine, the Pogba and Bruno's.
I'm sure it is,
position.
but why do you want something different from the guy who is, I believe he's one of United's 4 or 5 highest paid players. He's the golden boy. He's homegrown. I know he's had his injury last season and his foot or whatever the hell it was and so on. But at some point, I mean, is it fair to ask, is Marcus Rashford, was he more productive when he was 20 years old than he is now? And what are the reasons for it? And how do you get out of it? And I'd love to hear from you, Nedum, because we see this trajectory. Players come up and come into the first team. They have, they hit the ground running. They score a lot. They look to be on a total upward trajectory. And then they get their nose bloodied. And sometimes it takes them time to get back to getting back on track, to fulfilling their potential.
Yeah, I would agree. I think if we were to look at it in totality, you could maybe argue he's not really recovered from the summer at the Euros in terms of how that finished. Because from then, the form that he's shown and so on, it hasn't been up to the standard. That,
he wasn't great before the summer. He wasn't great last season.
Yeah, but it's like actually getting worse to the point where I'm hearing fellow Mancunians saying that they need to get rid of one of their own, and that's something which they tend not to do. And for this game, when you choose an Elanga, who I think most people would say isn't as good a player as Rashford, but you're choosing him because he was essentially going to run more, like that's a red flag to me. Because for Marcus, especially given the fact it's a derby game, and the same for, say, Lingard and so on, the bare minimum is being able to compete and just try hard for your team in a game which doesn't necessarily require talent to have an influence. So he's really struggling in the minute, really, really struggling. I don't know if he can't handle the pressure, the fact that he's in and out of the side, but he looks like a shadow of his former self. But then also, I think it gives sort of credit to the people who do it year in, year out, because at some point, it gets harder because people figure you out. But how do you react? And for Marcus at the minute, shooting from like 40 yards out and trying to take on 4 or 5 people, it doesn't work. Yeah, you have to adapt. Unfortunately, he's not doing that.
He's lost a lot of confidence.
I'll say this. I mean, obviously, I've never met the guy. I've heard him speak. And obviously, with all the stuff he does, he's looks like a very, very nice man. And obviously, he's done fantastic things in his efforts socially and on poverty and whatnot. I think this also shows you the benefits of being a good person, because he's undoubtedly a good person. And I think maybe that's why people are a little more patient than they are with him if he was a nasty piece of work, which he isn't. Because in terms of productivity, he's obviously in a hole right now. He needs help to get out.
Definitely.
But
Rangnick has helped Sancho. Sancho is
actually, on the Sancho point, he's improved because the first part of the season, Solskjaer was doing nothing, right?
Yeah, but
scored a great goal.
Rangnick can do the same with Rashford.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.